bookshop. It's the bookshop. It's the bookshop of Beverly Farms.
Howdy, everybody. It's Sam Feifel, your host of John Updike's Ghost, your favorite little podcast about reading, books, literature, bookstores, going to awesome concerts, and having lots of fun. John Updike's Ghost. And I'm joined, as always, by my sister, the co-owner of the bookshop of Beverly Farms, and all-around lounge chair sitter, Hannah Harlow. How are you doing today?
Wow, what an intro. I'm great. I'm here at the lake. I'm looking out at the water right now. Life really couldn't be better.
I can't imagine that life could be better. The weather is spectacular, but it was a little cold this morning. Might have been a little nippy up there at camp.
It's been a little chilly. I woke up feeling a little cold, but you go out in the sunshine, it's great. So I can't complain.
No, you cannot complain. You can't complain. I have read 2 books in this interim, both of which I received for my birthday. One from you, one from my wife.
Very exciting.
So my agenda is looking really nice. I have the Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi, which I believe you gifted to me.
I did. I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
And then I also have Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor, which was given to me by my loving wife. And
spoiler alert, your wife texted me from the bookstore and I suggested you might like that. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that one too.
Oh, I see. You're stealing glory from my wife. That's what I'll try not to tell Kristen.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure she doesn't listen, so she'll never know.
Yeah, definitely not. No, none of our family listens, which is what is on your agenda?
I also have 2 books. The first is A Dog in Georgia by Lauren Grodstein.
Wow.
Yep, that's a novel. And then this is a nonfiction book, A Marriage at Sea by Sophie Elmhirst.
Wow. Yeah, it wouldn't be a podcast without some memoir to talk about.
I've been reading a lot of memoirs this year.
I know.
This one isn't a memoir. Actually, it's more of a biography of sorts. So
a biography. It's not written by the person involved.
No. The 2 characters the book is about are no longer alive.
Oh, wow. Book about dead people. Why don't we start with that book? Well, tell me about this piece of nonfiction you have read.
A Marriage at Sea just came out a couple weeks ago to a little bit of fanfare. I think it got some good reviews. It ended up on the indie bestseller list after 1 week.
Really?
Yeah, so Sophie Elmhirst wrote this book about a couple, Morris and Marilyn. Totally blanking on their last names now that I've started talking.
That kind of seems important, knowing who they are. I don't know.
I mean, so in one sense, Bailey. Sorry, Bailey is their last name. Morris and Marilyn Bailey. So what made their story sort of noteworthy is they decided to, quit their jobs. They were living in England. They got married in the late 60s. And they decided they wanted to just leave everything behind and live a more interesting life. They were not happy with the suburbs of England. It was just, they felt very trapped. So they were like, let's go live on a sailboat. So
that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah. So they honestly didn't really get that far before they shipwrecked.
Shocker. Yeah.
A whale ran into their ship.
Really?
Yeah. And their ship sank and they managed to get onto a lifeboat. They had a raft and a dinghy. So they had kind of 2 boats, little boats tied together. And they survived for 118 days.
118 days?
Yes. And they left behind journals and whatnot.
And then they died? Or 118 days and then someone...
No, they survived. So I actually didn't read the back copy at all. I didn't read anything about the book and I started listening to it. And so I found it quite harrowing because I was like, are they going to make it? But they do survive. They're in a shipping lane. think they're near like Patagonia.
Patagonia.
Yeah. And they get rescued by this South Korean ship.
Uh-huh.
And then they become quite famous. So I got 60% through the book, and they've now been rescued. And I was like, wow, do we have 40% left of this book? Like,
and you didn't Google them or anything in the middle of this book?
I did not.
I would have done that.
They became quite famous. So the last, part of the book is about sort of their fame and this, like, they wrote a book.
I'm sure they did.
They wrote 2 books, actually. So then their second book. So then they were like, one of the ways they survived. And so I think the most interesting part of the book is their time, on the life raft or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you see them, I guess this is why it's called A Marriage at Sea, right? Like how they interacted together and how she really was like the driving force of their survival. Like she was just super she saved his ass big time.
But the only record of the existence is their own account.
Yes. So everyone's sort of like, did your boat really get hit by a whale? Like that seems kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But right. We only have what they've told us.
So we don't know. They could have been living in a beach cabana the whole time, and then they just put themselves out in this.
Well, they were emaciated and whatnot.
Okay.
They were all banged up when they got rescued. Right. He especially was pretty banged up. So they get rescued and go to Hawaii to like recuperate for a few days, and then they go to South Korea and whatnot. Yeah, because ends up being the like they're on their way back to South Korea. Like the ship picks them up, and it's sort of like, holy cow, these people are barely alive.
Right. So they're coming around.
What do we do with
the bottom of South America on their way to Korea, and you pass Hawaii. Okay.
And so then they're talking to people, and their overlords in South Korea are like, we don't want them.
South Korea.
And they're like, you should stop in Hawaii and like get them some medical attention.
I don't want these UK nationals on my boat, actually.
Anyway, as I was saying, she's the driving force of their survival. And one of the ways they survive is by like planning their life after all of this. Like they, you have to believe you're going to make it.
What are we going to do when we get back? Yeah, exactly.
And she is like, we're going to build a new boat. We're going to get back on the sea. And so after they get rescued, they're like, okay, we need money to build a new boat. And everyone's like, you're really going to go back out?
Why would you get on a boat? That's insane.
Well, they do. So their second book was about like their next trip or whatever. But of course, no one really cares about a successful.
Right. Yeah. Hey guys,
trip.
We made it all the way to Portugal. Good for us.
Yeah. So then after that, their fame sort of waned. So then the end of the book, which was sort of interesting because I got to this point and I was sort of like, why do I care about this couple? Like, why do I care about their lives or whatever? Right, but I think the point ultimately was, in many ways, they were just like, for most of their lives, they were just like an ordinary couple, right? Like, but they had this like one really significant event in their lives that made them noteworthy. And so for the whole second half of their lives, they were just sort of like, what do we do with this?
Yeah,
right?
How do you go back to ordinary people?
Yeah.
So it's like a treatise on fame, kind of, in the end?
It is, yes. Which is not what I had bargained for, to be honest.
Right, yeah, no, I buy that. I mean, I think that's the like central question of our age, right? Is like with the social media stuff, everybody's trying to like have their moment.
Right.
Then nobody can figure out what to do.
And then what do you do after that? Yeah.
No, like, that's the, because like, I think about all these kids, if you ask kids what they want to be when they grow up now, like the most popular answer is like YouTube influencer.
Influencer, right.
Right. And it's like, okay, you get to be an influencer, and then you're just going to influence forever for the rest of your life. Like it's a long ass time and they all burn out, every single one of them.
Totally. You can't.
Because there's no way to, even like, rock stars and whatever, they all burn out under like the white hot glare of the public eye. And if you don't actually have any talent or any, if it's
Right.
just like circumstance and happenstance that's made you famous, then you've got nothing.
Right. And then what do you do after that?
You still have to kill your time.
Right. And I also think about even reading a book like Careless People, which was looking at Mark Zuckerberg, who like made Facebook and now has the rest of his life. And it's like, well, what do you do after that?
Right. Yeah. If you're morally and ethically bankrupt and you don't have any foundation on which to build, then you're just like casting about and, it's like a toddler.
Yes. Yeah. So,
actually, I have a good transition.
Oh, good.
To
Great.
Death of the Author. Because so this book is just heads up, amazing, like very, very strong book.
We love Nnedi Okorafor. You've read other books, but you love this author. You've read books by her before.
Well, I read Noor was the other one that I've read by her, and the other ones I just sort of know of. So I've only read one other book by her. She's a titan of science fiction at this point. She's incredibly prolific. She's still like, you look at her author picture and she's younger than us, I'm pretty sure. But she has like 30 published works of, significant length, short story collections and big books and all that sort of thing. And I think she is sort of widely regarded as like the best going right now. And like, like next wave of science fiction, there's like Blake Crouch is kind of big time or whatever, but there aren't very many names in science fiction that are actually bigger than her now. But I think she's still sort of thought of as, like young and up and coming. But I think, or maybe I think of her that way, but she's not, obviously. And
she's here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she is now like titan of the field, not like gonna be titan of the field, but like, and I think maybe this book is sort of her comment on that, which is, so the central premise is this woman who is paraplegic. You learn this very early on in the book. She fell out of a tree at the age of 12 years old while like horsing around with her family, and was forever paralyzed, no use of her legs, but arms work and everything.
Okay.
She is a first generation American citizen in that her parents moved here from Nigeria, but they were wealthy and educated for Nigeria. They're not like refugees; they're like doctors, and her father's a doctor, and her mother's like a princess of Nigeria or whatever, right? So they have not wanted for money. And in fact, all of her brothers and sisters, of which she has 4, she's one of 5, they're all doctors, lawyers, professors, successful people. She is the black sheep, and she's like an associate creative writing professor who gets fired.
Ooh.
And so she's at her nadir, she's living with her parents, and in a sort of fit of pique, she writes this science fiction novel. Previously, her literature was like garbagey, quasi Oprah stuff, which the other characters kind of make fun of it, and she's not proud of it or whatever. So in a fit of pique, she writes this like banger sci-fi book, all kind of in like one go, feverishly bangs it out over the course of whatever, a couple weeks or something. And sends it off to her agent. She does have an agent. She's gotten some short stories published and whatnot. And agent's like, this is fucking super dope. Like let's go. And in a heartbeat, it's sold. She sells the movie rights. All of a sudden, she's famous. Book comes out, super popular. Billions of super fans and whatever, and so then like, what do you do with like that notoriety or whatever, right? Like, she's supposed to be writing the second book. She can't write the second book, but in parallel, we are being given the sci-fi book that she actually wrote.
Oh, so there is a book within a book.
Yes, right. So like, not alternating chapters. One of the funnest things about it is it's like kind of unpredictable what the next chapter is going to be. Like, you just get these blasts of the novel, and you never.
But you know you're in the novel when you're getting it?
Yes,
Like
you
it's
get a
obvious?
different font or whatever.
okay.
Like the it's like a sans serif font is like I'm in the sci-fi novel.
Got it.
And it's a great sci-fi novel because she's a great sci-fi writer. And so, it's like this future wasteland where all of humanity is gone. And there's two types of robots who end up being tribal and want to fight each other or whatever. And one robot from each tribe gets together and, makes friendship. And, oh, what are we going to do with this? We have, whatever. And so I'm not even going to say more because both plots have like big twists multiple
Ooh.
times.
Wow.
And the whole finish is a huge twist where you're like, oh shit, I didn't actually know what this book was about.
Wow. Okay, I did not see that coming. I didn't know there were going to be such big twists in this book.
No, well, there are multiple times where you're like, oh, it's that type of book, and then you're like, wait a second, it's this whole different type of book, and so it just does a lot of things really well. The family dynamics of this like Nigerian immigrant family and like how they navigate their, basically fish out of water in the United States, their relationship with their homeland, how can you go home again, like is all in there. That's all really well done. All of the characters are believable and distinct from each other. There's like a family dynamic that sometimes rings hollow to me, like where the black sheep character, our protagonist, the family's always telling her, you've ashamed the family, and they're like, really, wouldn't they be proud of this? But
they're ashamed that she wrote a sci-fi book.
Well, some various things that she does that I can't necessarily mention, but like there's things where like they're like, oh, that's an abomination, and I'm like, really? Would they think that was an abomination? Like there's a whole Christian element that I don't really get because I can't really wrap my head around thinking like that. But just like, and so that's good. But then also like the tech is really good in the sci-fi. Like love all the robot shit, the AI. There's like a ton of like AI commentary stuff and. Thoughts about how we're going to use it, future of what is humanity, really good stuff. And then just like the actual craft of the novel and the sentence level structure and the organization and how she presents all the elements and the pacing is all amazing. So it's definitely favorite book I've read in a while. Like I loved it.
Wow.
Loved it.
Okay. So question for you. I remember talking to my sales rep about this book when, before it came out and I was ordering it for the store. Yeah. And so our sales rep implied that, she is obviously huge in sci-fi circles.
Yeah.
But she hasn't really gained the sort of mainstream.
I know. And I can't figure out
success.
why. This should be like people are freaking out about it. This should be an Oprah book.
Yeah. So
super accessible.
Does this book belong in this sci-fi fantasy section? I think I have it actually in just like general fiction right now.
Well, so I think they probably don't want it in sci-fi, right? Because I think
I think they were saying
it is sci-fi. Like, it's set in the future. It is, technology and future tech are important not just to the sci-fi novel in the novel, but also to the main plot of the main novel, right? Like, there's all kinds of sci-fi in there. It's like near future sci-fi. It's basically like, what if we could do a couple of things that we probably will be able to do soon? So it's mostly like a thought piece on where are we going with a bunch of this tech, which I think is super central to sci-fi in general. It reminds me a lot of like Blake Crouch. Like Blake Crouch is like, well, what if we could actually do this shit that we can theoretically do? And like, how would that play out if bad guys got a hold of it, or if this person made a bad decision or whatever? And that's the next book I'm going to talk about too. But I think it probably is literature, But if you take like, it's I'm trying to think of
solid crossover here. It could go either way.
It's like Margaret Atwood, right? Like Margaret Atwood, you don't put her in sci-fi or whatever.
We don't. You're right.
And, it's like the Mad Adam trilogy or whatever is really sci-fi. There's like a whole bunch of climate tech in there and stuff. And there is like AI and there's like weird genetic shit that we can't actually do. But we put all that stuff in literature. So, but I think also if you just pimped her as like the best sci-fi going, people who love sci-fi will love this shit, like.
Right. Well, just thinking, we brought in a few copies. have sold one, I
Right.
think.
To me.
And we still have a couple, and I just kind of refuse to send it back because I'm like, I know this is good.
It's way good. Maybe we just need to do a better job of recommending it. But
yeah.
I don't think the tech makes it inaccessible. I know that we have readers who like family dramas and summer reads or whatever that probably say words like "I don't like sci-fi," but
Right.
but
they would like
the
this.
relationships, like what drives the plot is fundamentally relationships, right? Like the plot is not driven by the tech, which is bad sci-fi. Bad sci-fi is driven by the tech. Good sci-fi is just like, well, what would humanity be like if we had
Right.
this stuff going on instead of that?
Character driven.
Yeah. Just like the Expanse series that I like so much, it's all, it's a space opera. Like, yeah, they can fly around between planets, but it would be the same if it was in ancient Greece.
Yeah, it's always about the human drama.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't have a good segue.
You don't have any human drama in your
I have
novel?
human drama. I have human drama.
Seems like a good segue.
Sure. Yeah. Got human drama. So my next book is A Dog in Georgia by Lauren Grodstein. It's a novel.
What did she write that you read?
We Must Not Think of Ourselves was her last book, which I really love. But that was historical fiction.
I see that all the time on it's like hanging on a bookshelf in our room.
That was I think it was a Jenna pick. It was one of the
that was the one. It was like World War II Polish ghetto, right?
Yes, exactly. So this is very different in that it's a contemporary setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a woman in New York who she's at a low point. She has just caught her husband maybe cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's seen some incriminating evidence on his phone.
Yuck.
Her stepson has gone off to college, so she's now kind of alone in the apartment a lot of the day. Her husband owns a restaurant, and she is a dog person. So they have a dog, whatever.
I'm very skeptical of any book with a dog in the title. Very skeptical.
Well, she partners with like the rescue organization to help.
It's a volunteer job. Yeah.
It's a volunteer job. And so the premise is like a little bit like this seems a little crazy. So the premise is she's gotten obsessed with this dog that's gone missing in the country of Georgia.
In the country of Georgia?
Yeah. And so there's a missing dog. And it's like, someone has set up a little website for it, and she's been like donating money to help
find the dog. Requires money to find this dog.
Yeah. And when this stuff goes down with her husband, she's like, I have to get out of here. And she flies to Georgia because she thinks, I have a real talent for finding missing dogs, and I'm going to go help the people of Georgia.
For finding missing dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone in the book kind of recognizes that the setup is like a little ridiculous.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Like, you're really going to fly from New York to Georgia to find a dog? So everyone is like giving her a little shit for this.
Okay, I was about to say, at least it's at least ridiculous in the universe.
It is ridiculous in the universe, but everyone she sort of knows like I have to like figure out my shit. Like my life is going down the tubes. What am I going to do? I need to get out of here. I need to like distract myself or whatever. So she goes to look for this dog, and so the book actually reminded me a lot of Wedding People.
Right.
Which is like a woman
ridiculous premise.
Low point, ridiculous premise, but it gets this woman into a very different place talking to strangers, right? Who help her work out her shit.
Yes. Humanity as therapist. Yes.
Exactly. So the woman who has set up the website for the dog is like, well, you have to come stay in my house with me. And so, the main character is just in this random house in Georgia and like talking to the, woman who has adopted like 10 dogs in her house. But there's this other dog that's gone missing that was very special. It was like very special to the community because it like helped children cross the street to this school every day. So like all the school children love the dog. And this woman has a daughter who is very active in like the resistance movement, like
Right.
against the kind of Georgian
But she
government.
studied up on the whole like Georgian political scene and whatnot.
Yes. So there are all these like protests taking place.
Yeah.
So the book kind of takes a turn towards the end where it becomes more about like, what do you fight for? Right. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm finding meaning in life.
Yes. Finding meaning in life and like, standing up for what you believe in and how that's super important. And
I started out searching for a dog, and now I've found a passion for democracy and freedom.
Yes, which is like, was a little bit of a surprise, but I don't know, it worked for me.
Yeah,
and
that's fine. Yeah.
I think the book was about like the conversations she has like with all these random people throughout Georgia as she's, trying to find this dog.
Yeah. Like,
And
I'm spending literally weeks at a time in the streets, wrapping things around my face to getting tear gassed,
yes,
because
so
I don't have any other option. This is the only future for me.
And I think so. I've read some other Lauren Gradstein books. Spoiler alert: took a writing class with her like 20 years ago, and have remained friends with her. So I think she has a really amazing, like easy breezy kind of writing style that like was very different from the World War II book, which wasn't as much on display.
Right.
But when she's writing about like kind of more contemporary, like in a more seemingly lighthearted book, she has this great way of like writing asides, like, parentheticals that are like just very funny and dry and humorous. So I think she's like a really great kind of quote unquote easy read that packs a little more punch than you're expecting.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think, well, I don't know. So the last book I've got, Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi, 2 S's. I would say that it is not necessarily easy breezy.
That's not the segue we're going to work with, I guess.
So that's not the segue. It's very similar in terms of like what it's trying to accomplish as Death of the Author, in that, science fiction, it's a time travel book. But it's not about the time travel. It's about the relationship.
Human drama.
Yeah, it's about the central character, this woman, Beth. This is terrible, but I'm always a little skeptical when dudes, especially in sci-fi, make their main character a woman, but
100%.
It is what it is. Sometimes I think it's a challenge, I don't know. I think the woman is largely believable. There's a couple of like gal pal interactions where I'm like, oh man, is that what this dude thinks gal pals do? But like they call each other bitch, and I'm always like, what are we doing? Like maybe some people do that, but we don't have to emulate it. But the central thing is they've invented this device that allows for a type of time travel where you can go back and re-experience any time of your life, like looking out through your own eyes, but without having any control, right? So,
you can't change anything.
No, that is the third rule of time travel, is that you can't have any impact. You're just like observing. Because what they've figured out a way to do is open like this little micro wormhole and send your consciousness, because we have quantum computing that can handle like brain data or whatever. They send your consciousness as pure data through this wormhole, and then it lands somewhere. They think it's random. But the central premise is really dodgy, right? Like they're like, it's random where you show up. We have no idea why, right?
And then why would people do it?
Right, exactly. And they're like, oh, we'll figure it out. We're testing it. We'll use the data to figure out how it targets or whatever, right? But they've done it like 10 times, and it's very clear that you don't go back to random places. You go to like significant places. They're like, oh, that's weird. I went to this like super traumatic time. How unlucky, because you only get like 90 seconds is one of the other pieces, right? So also, Beth, when the novel opens, Colson, her husband, is dead. He has died in a car crash, right? And so, she's dealing with the grief of her dead husband, not well. And she has a daughter, a 4-year-old or whatever. And so that's like this little family unit that she cares the most about in the world, loves Colson the most, loves Isabella the most. And we're going on. And the funder of the program is super secretive. He's a bad billionaire guy or whatever, And ultimately, it's very well paced, right? And there's elements of like horror, I would say, that's kind of in the same, like I've said, Blake Crouch, like it's more Blake Crouchy in that, like, some pretty bad shit happens where you're like, "Ooh, that's really bad," and
Yeah. Okay.
like, oh, I
Yeah.
feel really bad for the person that happened to, and the pacing is really good. It's very breakneck. It had me doing the thing where I jump ahead to the dialogue and then like go back and like read the details in the lead up, because I was like, I just want to see how this happens. And I read it really fast. So all of that's good,
How does she get involved in the program? She just like signs up to go back.
No, she's a super genius. She and Colson invented this. They're super geniuses.
Oh, they invented it. Oh,
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, they invented it.
Got it.
She and her husband are super genius scientists. Keep people invented this tech. They've invented time travel. Not just they writ large. They, Beth and Colson.
Got it.
And so it's
Now
a super
Colson's
secretive
gone.
program where they're testing it. They don't want to bring it out into the. There's a whole timeline where like the billionaire's running out of money, so he brings in a reporter to like try to talk about how awesome this tech is, so that he'll get more funding. And the reporter's like, well, it doesn't really do anything. You just go back in time and like look out through your own eyes. Like, I have memories,
Right.
And they're like, no, but imagine if like, you could target it and someone could go back to a very specific time. And then like everybody's like, oh, you're right. And then I keep going like, so what? I don't understand, like.
Right.
But then, right, so then the like twist is like, oh, it's not just sending us to random times, And then it's like, why? And there's this like mystical element, like there's some God stuff, like, oh, like what if there is a controller of the universe that we've pissed off by breaking the laws of physics,
Wow.
And it's just like, I don't know. I did not find the landing satisfying. Really, I was like, okay, like you had to wrap it up somehow, and I was like, all right, wrapped up. Like it just didn't really say much to me, because ultimately, like, it doesn't really spoil it. I don't think, because it's pretty obvious this is where he's going. The ultimate lesson is, it's not about our accomplishments. It's about the people we're with. And the best part of life is having pancakes with our family in the kitchen on Sunday morning. Which is true. Yes. Right. And if we could just do that all day long and continually,
it would be great.
Life would be amazing. But I think everybody recognizes that life is also a hell. So,
okay.
It's interesting. Is it? It's not a bad
mixed
book.
Review. I'm calling this a mixed review.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you like time travel books, I think it's an interesting take on time travel. Kind of adds to the time travel canon or whatever.
Yeah. I think I picked it out for you because partly I was swayed by the blurbs, which were like, this author is like pretty great. So,
yeah, like I think like this is the type of author that I don't know this Philip for Casey, and I didn't do any research on other stuff to Hatchet publication, but who's the Frida? What's her face?
McFadden.
Frida McFadden, like the type of author that like can crank out a fast-paced, type of book or whatever, like good, technical, prolific writer. And sometimes, they write a book a year maybe, and, some of them really grab you, and some of them, you're like, yeah, that was okay, right. But like, there's, very expertly done, it's just like, it's like kind of watching, is episode 7 of the 4th season of Game of Thrones like the best? No, but like that was entertaining. You know, some people got naked and stabbed each other with swords. That was great.
Yeah, so I think that's a good analogy. That works for me. I get it now. Okay. That was 4 books.
That was all 4 books. We've got nothing to pimp. Oh no, we have the sale week. When's sale week start?
Sale week. I know it ends like the weekend of the 9th and 10th, I think, which is the sales tax holiday in Massachusetts.
Right, yes.
So leading up, so starting the Monday before that.
Does the sales tax holiday extend to people who buy things from us online?
Oh, the sales tax gets complicated online because I think it's actually set up to
charge you by the state you live in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you live. I guess
our computers just do that math.
I think so. Because there are definitely times where someone orders something online from a different state and there's no sales tax added. So I was like, I guess Book Manager knows what they're doing.
Oh, so if I were to set up a P.O. box in New Hampshire and I lived in York, Maine, I could just have all my books shipped to New Hampshire and save 5.5%.
I guess so.
Amazing. Never even thought to do that.
I think you should give it a whirl. Just drive on over every time you want your mail.
Well, New Hampshire's closed if I'm in York, Maine.
Yeah.
I should have everything shipped. If I worked in Portsmouth and lived in York, I should always have everything shipped to me at work.
You should.
I feel like that's a loophole. All right. So it's come to our sale week, which ends on the sales tax weekend. So that means it probably starts like August 8th or something.
Well, if sales tax weekend is 9th to 10th, I think the Monday is
9th,
earlier than the 8th.
or something. I thought you said 15th or something.
So it starts Monday, August 4th.
Aha. Well, that's coming right up by the time this is out.
And the sale week this year will be 10% off all books.
Whoa.
20% off things like cards and puzzles. Let's throw puzzles in there. It's kind of sideliney stuff will be 20% off.
Wow.
And there'll be some items that'll be 50% off.
50% off. That's like free.
It's basically free.
Amazing. People should come in and buy things during that sale week.
They definitely should.
We're giving this money to you for no reason. You could probably afford that 10%, but, we're just being generous.
We're being generous. We like giving back to our communities, saying thank you for being so great. So this is one of the weeks we do that. And, let's clear the shelves, ordering all sorts of great stuff for the holiday season. So just need to make some room for things.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, keep that in mind, you listeners. From all of us here at John Updike's Ghost, that is the end of this episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.